Yeah, let the big dog hunt. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kallas from March with my man Steve Kallas right over there. I'm Joe Staszak. I'm on Tampa Bay gear. My boy Brady back in action this weekend. Hey, listen, I can't watch the Eagles anymore. It's just the football. It's not nearly entertaining enough. Although they did play well against the Chargers last week. Steven, how you doing, my friend?
All good, Joe. Great to be with you as always.
In fact, actually, in terms of gambling, they're a tough team to put away. Killed the Lions, came back to cover against the Tampa Bay Bucks, covered miraculously against Carolina, almost covered against the Chargers. I don't know. I think they're not a good squad, but they hang around. Right. Anyway, how you doing, my friend? Let's talk Thursday night. You know, we talk about it all the time. Any given Sunday, any given Thursday, you know, the Ravens go into Miami and just get, Tua gets the start, and then, Lamar Jackson isn't Lamar Jackson and not the MVP that a lot of people think he might be this year. And even towards the end, when you were texting me, I said, don't worry. This is what Lamar does every week. He does this. You're fine. And then I saw them run back the fumble. I'm like, all right, you got some problems now. But what'd you think of that game? And who are the Ravens? Who are they?
They're not good. I think the book is out on Lamar Jackson. He's very bad under pressure. They blitzed him, it seemed like, every down. It looks like the secret to the Ravens to stop them offensively is to just blitz and blitz and blitz. And, there's always a question about Lamar Jackson has become a better pocket passer, but can he hit hot reads, on blitzes? Does he have the receivers who are going to, call off that long route to go 5 yards and in? And it certainly didn't work yesterday. I mean, on Thursday night, it didn't even look like it was a game. Like, even when it was close, you had no sense that the Ravens could go down the field and score. You just had no sense.
No.
And Jackson, look, most quarterbacks are not good under pressure. But I think you're going to see everybody who plays the Ravens now blitz like crazy. And for some reason, it's kind of the same with Mahomes. I don't know if there are new defensive schemes that keep them in the pocket, but these guys who we view to be the superior scrambling quarterbacks who can get out and run if they have to, but can run around 15, 20 yards in the backfield and make great plays. I haven't seen Mahomes really do it. Maybe he did it once in that 13-7 win, which the Chiefs got lucky because Aaron Rodgers did whatever Aaron Rodgers did.
Right.
And because they don't win if Aaron Rodgers is playing.
Right.
But the same with Jackson. He doesn't have that ability anymore. It looks to me like to really run. I think he had like 10 carries maybe for 60 yards or something, but it's not the same. He doesn't have that ability to break off a 40-yard run. He doesn't seem to have that ability to run around in the backfield and then complete a 20-yard pass. And I think the new word is double safeties deep, cover two against Mahomes and Jackson, and blitz Jackson at least on every play. And they haven't played well. I'll say it again. The Chiefs will be lucky to make the playoffs, but they were lucky they played so horribly against the Giants that they were playing the Giants. And then they were incredibly lucky that the Packers didn't have Aaron Rodgers because it was 13-7. They're winning with Aaron Rodgers.
Of course.
So things have changed. I give Miami credit. Tua didn't start. He had that broken finger, Joe.
That's right.
Brissett started, got knocked out, but somehow Tua could come in and play, which is so interesting to me. If he could come in and play, why didn't he start if he's the main guy? Now, apparently, Brissett went back to the coach later, to Flores, and said, I'm good to go. And Flores said, yeah, we're going with Tua. So maybe you're going to see the switch back now. If Tua can play coming off a broken finger like that, I assume he's going to start the rest of the year now. But we'll see. He's up and down. Miami's defense was great, but I think you're going to see whoever the Ravens play, they're just going to keep blitzing them like crazy.
And the Chiefs, God bless Las Vegas. They're a favorite again on the road in Vegas. What am I missing? They're not the Chiefs anymore, guys. And Patrick Mahomes, to me, is lost.
I don't think you're not missing it. I think everybody else is missing it. We talked about it last week. I'll say it again. I think they're lucky if they make the playoffs. But these last two games, which could have been losses, and I think would have been a loss last week if Rodgers had played, they're both wins. So Vegas goes to New York and loses to the Giants. The Giants are getting better, but Vegas at home, look, they got the Henry Ruggs problem. They got the John Gruden problem. But I think you're right. I think if I had to pick that game, I'd pick Las Vegas to win because the Chiefs haven't shown me really much of anything. And I don't know why that's going to change in Las Vegas. And Vegas has a pretty good defense. I don't think they're a great defense, but they're a pretty good defense. And, and Carr's having a good year. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, to me, that's a little crazy. The Arizona Cardinals, on the other hand, didn't have Kyler Murray, and this was one of my picks. I didn't even know that at the time. I'm embarrassed to say that, but I'm looking, they're getting 2.5 points against the San Francisco team that I think has a lot of holes in it. They just kept right on rolling. Colt McCoy doesn't matter. I'm learning, and I kind of know this in the past, but it hasn't been as clear as this year that these backups get paid for a reason, and sometimes there's not that much of a drop-off, especially if a backup comes in, not a lot of tape on him, defense isn't prepared. Trevor Siemian, Cooper Rush, Colt McCoy. I mean, even LBJ, who's a Raider now, the line moved 4 points. I don't think one player makes that big of a difference. Remember the receiver Adams for the Packers, the line moved almost 6 points. Didn't matter. I mean, they won the game anyway. I think people they kind of buy into that too much. Well, this guy's hurt, this guy's hurt. Yeah, the other guys, sometimes there's not that big of a drop off, and it's such a team sport that you can spread it around, and at least that's what I'm saying. But what do you think, first of all, the Cardinals, how they keep playing, and then the LBJ thing? He's in he's not in Vegas anymore. I'm sorry, he's with the Rams.
Right. Well, it's becoming more and more. When Phil Simms went 22 for 25 in that Super Bowl,
yeah,
it's like the most incredible thing we've ever seen. And now
the guy does it to the Eagles every week now. You're
routinely seeing it. Colt McCoy, 22 for 26, 249 yards, a touchdown, no picks. We have to show more respect for backups. Mike White starting for the third time this coming week for the Jets. Trevor Siemian, whatever you think of him, he won that one game. There's a lot going on, but you're right. These backups are not. Justin Love is not Aaron Rodgers. He didn't win the game. He wasn't terrible, but he didn't win the game. But it's just, you got guys, Justin Fields looks like an NFL quarterback now for the Bears. Took the lead very late, only to lose to the Steelers at the last second. Jalen Hurts is producing. I'm not going to say he's good. He throws for like 180 yards every week. But
a lot of it's garbage time. I mean, he is getting better. I agree with that.
Right.
I don't think, though, if you're not accurate by this stage in your career, I think a lot of it's God. It's not because Tom Brady practices more than other people. He's been, he's gifted. He's a very accurate thrower. Jalen Hurts isn't there yet. I think he's a good backup and give you some games, some stretches. I think at least in 2 years, they will be looking for another quarterback. And you mentioned, and I said this a long time ago, I think that pick, Justin Fields, might haunt the Eagles for a long time because they ended up taking Devontae Smith, who's a good player, and I think he's going to be very productive for the team this year. Justin Fields, I thought, was lights out in that Pittsburgh game. He looked like he got it. A lot different than the Cleveland game a few weeks ago. He was balling, not dinks and dunks too. He was taking shots downfield. Thought he played great.
No, I think you're right. And as for OBJ, look, he no longer gets the benefit of the doubt. Whatever happened in New York happened in New York. They put up a list of his production with the Giants and with the Browns.
Yeah.
He was averaging like 92, 93 yards a game with the Giants, in the 50s with the Browns. Mm-hmm. His production is almost just half of what he did with the Giants. So the bloom is off the rose for OBJ. And there are still questions. I heard one or two people question his ability after his injury. Can he be the explosive OBJ? What's interesting to me is he's going to a team now. He's no Cooper Kupp. You tell me anything you want about Odell Beckham. He can't sniff Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, is he the best receiver in the league, or is he second or third? Those are Robert Woods is unbelievable.
Right.
So you might say OBJ is a 3, and that'll be good for him. He'll get a lot of one-on-one. But I don't know. And Matthew Stafford, I don't know if I'm sure you saw the highlights. That first interception he threw last week. I mean, how are the Titans going to beat the Rams? They don't have Henry, and the Rams are getting.
That's how you beat the Rams.
And the first interception that Matthew Stafford, and this is the problem. He's 0-3 in the playoffs. He did a lot of losing with the Lions. They think, poof, he's the Super Bowl winning quarterback this year. Not so fast. He threw one of the dumbest interceptions of the year. He was going to be tackled for a safety.
Swung it around.
He flung it around, hit the guy on like the 6-yard line. The guy ran it back to the 2. And then his next pass, first time in his life, the Kevin Byard guy picked him off, ran right down the sidelines, pick 6. First time back-to-back picks for Matthew Stafford ever. So you got to be afraid if you're a Rams fan, because now, who did I hear? Somebody on NFL Live was like, oh, Dan Orlovsky, who I always have some issues with. Oh, well, the Rams, they're the Super Bowl winners right now. If they don't win the Super Bowl, it's a failure.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And thank goodness for Marcus Spears, who said, wait a minute, what about the Bucs if they're healthy?
Right.
They brought back all 22 starters from a Super Bowl winning team. And so you got to wonder what these guys are thinking. But the big question mark to me for the Rams is Matthew Stafford. He's never won a playoff game, and he's going to win the Super Bowl this year because he's on a better team. Now, the answer to that might be yes, but I'll believe it when I see it. But now you're right. They got OBJ. They got Von Miller. I mean, they're certainly stacking up. They're a win now. They're a win now team. The other guy we have to mention briefly is Cam Newton back to the Panthers. Now, Sam Darnold saw ghosts again last week. He didn't say that, but they played the Patriots again. He had no touchdowns and 3 picks. He looked like he was seeing ghosts on the sidelines. They kept showing him. But the Patriots are a much different, much better team now. I know we're going to talk about the Patriots and the Browns, at least I am in my picks. And Chubb is out, as you know. He's not going to be able to play. And so a lot's happening. The interesting thing to me with Cam Newton, he gave the weirdest press conference. I don't know if you saw it, Joe. It was so strange. He said his aura prevented him from staying with the Patriots because his aura would have been overwhelming.
To Mac Jones?
Yeah, but Mac Jones, if nothing else, and look, his numbers, he was 12 for 18 last week, for like 160 yards, whatever. His numbers haven't been great, but the last thing that's going to scare him is the aura of a guy sitting on the bench. And he's cool, calm, and collected. He's getting better. The Patriots defense is getting better. I don't know where they're going to be running wise because their 2 backs might both be out. But, Bolden came in last week and was great. Bolden was like a poor man's James White.
Right.
So I think the Patriots are going in the right direction. Again, they could have beaten Tampa Bay 19-17. They should have beaten Miami 18-17 first week. That late fumble, Mac Jones let him down the field, just like Tom Brady did when he was a young quarterback. But the fumble late hurt them. They could have had an additional 1 or 2 or even 3 wins. But if they had had 1 more win, they'd be in the thick of the playoff hunt. I think if they beat the Browns, they'll beat the Falcons next week. They'll be 7-4, and they'll be in the thick of the playoff hunt. So I think, and even Buffalo, who loses to the Jags, we should mention that. Another one of the weirdest games of the year. Is Buffalo guaranteed to beat the Patriots twice now because they haven't played yet?
Hell no.
So the question to me is, do the Patriots get 1 of those or do they get 2 of those? Because if they get 2 of those, they might win the division, which was unheard of 3 weeks ago, of course. So a lot going on in the NFL. I'm still mystified by these, again, Jags 9, Buffalo 6, just mystifying to me. But what you have, I think, other than maybe you'll say Arizona now, because, they can win easily with a backup quarterback. Other than them, I can't think of another team that's been really, really consistent. The Patriots are going that way. They beat the Chargers in Los Angeles. And then if they beat the Browns in Cleveland, I'll say they're all the way back. If they beat, I think that game's in New England, I'm sorry. But they're playing the Browns. And the Browns, Chubb's not playing. Baker Mayfield, isn't Bill Belichick the perfect coach to mess up Baker Mayfield? So I don't think there are any other really, really, really good teams. Tampa Bay, if they get healthy, they're not, other than Arizona right now.
About the Eagles and Denver, and I have to bring up the Eagles because I'm based out of Philadelphia. We do a lot of Philly stuff here on this program. Again, Chargers, the only team since 2002 to go on a 98-yard drive and not score points. Right, and this is the game we played. It's Chargers, our favorite game. Only the teams we play can go 98 yards and not score any points. They got stopped on another fourth down, which would have been a pretty easy field goal for Hopkins, we would think. Next thing you know, they're trailing. They're trailing, and they had to get a touchdown and go for two because the Hopkins mixed an extra point. But they really did what they wanted to against the Eagles defense. Now, it's now 5 quarterbacks who have thrown over 80% completion percentage against the Eagles this year. Only the second time in NFL history. There will be others. Trust me on that one. That's ridiculous if you think about it. Their car was like 91, 92%. You mentioned Colt McCoy had good numbers, but this happens like every week to the Eagles, and a lot of heat around here is on Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator. Don't you think that there's a problem inherently with the philosophy of the defense? I don't think it's just because they have underwhelming talent, which they do. That's a bad trend. That's a bad trend when you're just giving up completion after completion after completion.
Wow.
And ultimately, Chargers, who are already a good team, and you know what? I think of Herbert, went right down the field. I scored every time they had the ball in the second half.
Well, I did hear an incredible stat. So Teddy Bridgewater, Denver's quarterback this week, Teddy Bridgewater is completing 70% of his passes. The Eagles are giving up a 75% completion rate, and that's the highest in the history of the NFL. Now, we all know passer completion rates have gone up. Once upon a time, 50% was okay. Then 60% became real good. Then 65. But frankly, if you're throwing in the low 60s now, you're not even in the top 15 quarterbacks. So it's a different world. I just don't know if specifically on the Eagles, if it's a Joe Staszak line. Denver blows out Dallas.
How does that happen first of all?
They blow them out. It's not even a game. I watched some of it, but watched the highlights before, and I think it was 30-0, and they scored 16 late. But they blow out Dallas, and then the Eagles lose to the Chargers. Now, that's nothing to be ashamed of, but they're playing in Philly. Now they're flying to Denver, and I think it's still Denver like 2.5. So
yeah,
you're going to have to tell me what I'm missing, because this to me was like the Chargers, only -1.5, but at least that was in Philly. So, and the Chargers did cover. We thought it might be a Joe Staszak line, but they did cover with the late field goal to win the game. But you're right. The Eagles, I think it might be an NFC East thing where all of these teams, no matter how bad we think they are, they can turn a game into a scrum. Although Dallas did not do that last week.
Not at all.
And they're supposed to be head and shoulders over everybody. So I don't know if it would be an overreaction, but to me, Denver kills Dallas. The Eagles lose to the Chargers, a good team at home. The Eagles fly to Denver after Denver has slaughtered the team that is much better than the Eagles in the NFC East, and it's only 2.5.
1.5 now. I'm looking 1.5.
I like Denver, and I'm going to pick Denver. Same reason I picked the Chargers last week. But I think it is the Joe Staszak rule because the Eagles could have won that game. They didn't, but they could have. And maybe they're becoming like the Minnesota Vikings, who are in every game, but then they kind of lose.
Right.
The Vikings losing another one to the Ravens last week in overtime in Baltimore.
Right.
So it's
Crazy
a very
game.
weird, we've talked about it a lot. To me, this has been the toughest year. I prefer the playoffs, as you know.
Yeah.
But it's been the toughest year to pick week in and week out. I was in a knockout pool. How could the Ravens lose to Miami? The week before, how could Dallas get slaughtered, lose to Denver? It's just so weird. How could the Bills lose to the Jags 9-6?
I don't know how that's possible.
These things
Right.
to me, any given soon to be Saturday. I understand that, but this year to me has been maybe the most unpredictable. How could the Jets beat the Titans, and the Titans might be the best team in football now? How could the Jets beat the Bengals?
Denver beat 3 Patsies at the beginning of the year. I think they had 4
Right.
wins. And they whacked. It's not like they edged out Dallas 13-10. They whacked Dallas at home.
With no Von Miller.
Right. He just gets traded, and that happens. Like that's why I love the NFL. Unless you're really heavily betting on it, because then you're screwed. I mean, you're screwed.
I agree. That's why they call it gambling.
That's exactly right. All right, let's do some picks, bro. I'll go first. Last week, 2-1 Chargers. We talked about Cardinals. I didn't even know Kyler Murray wasn't playing. And then the Raiders, I just thought they're a better team. You actually kind of warned me off that game. I should have listened to you. They lost to the Giants by touchdown or so. So I went 2-1. I think I'm 1 game over 500 for the year. This week, I like the Patriots at home. Is that a goofy line? I mean, to me, 2.5, you know, most teams win a game by 3 or more. I like the Patriots. I like the way they're playing. I think Browns played well last week without LBJ. It doesn't matter that much. I'm not big on the Browns. They're very up and down. I do like Tennessee. I think they're for real. I know they don't have Derrick Henry anymore, so they're obviously taking a step back. They are where are the Titans this week? Tennessee Titans are home against the Saints. The line's 3. Saints are a little up and down. I like Tennessee at home to continue that. And Denver, again, if that line dropped I'll check FanDuel afterward. But right now on ESPN, the line is down to Denver. And I don't think Denver is very good. They looked good. You know, you can look great one week and terrible the other in the NFL, and you're somewhere in between. I don't really know where Denver is. But I like them over the Eagles, and Eagles have to go, on the road. And I just think, Teddy Bridgewater doesn't turn the ball over. He had a little problem in the middle games. He started to turn the ball over a little bit, but historically he's secure with the football.
Right.
He'll take what the defense gives you. And if they keep laying off the receivers, because Jonathan Gannon's thing is don't get beat deep. Okay, well then the drives are going to last 9 minutes and they're still going to score instead of 3 minutes. That's good, Jonathan. So anyway, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, and he's really close to the coach, or he would have been whacked by now, I would think. But anyway, I like Denver in that game as well.
Yeah, we should say about Tennessee that they did get Adrian Peterson. He played and scored a touchdown to tie Walter Payton for 11th all-time on the all-time touchdown list. I know it's in the 150s. I don't know the exact number, but not that Peterson is Henry. He's not remotely Henry, but you got to give them credit as well, because they killed the Rams. How are they going to kill the Rams when they lose the best runner in the NFL, maybe the MVP in the NFL?
Right.
How are they going to win? They crushed them. Again, Stafford threw one incredibly stupid pick and another pick 6. So that's how you lose, I guess. But
that's
still,
how you lose. You don't think that going in because you don't think that's
Right.
going to happen. How's this team going to do? Me and you both do that. How is this team going to score points? The next thing you know, it's like 28-3 at the half. And like, okay, I guess 4 turnovers helps. Yeah.
Well, that's football. What can I say? So I was 2-1 last week as well. I'm kind of similar to you, though, in a couple of games. I like New England -2.5 at New England against Cleveland. Chubb is not playing. I understand their backup was good one game he played. But I think Belichick finds a way to confuse Baker Mayfield, and maybe he goes 8 in the box so they can't run it. New England's not great against the run, but if you want to stop something, they always say, pick a player. If you want to stop something against the Browns, I think it's simply stop the run, which is, of course, easier said than done, although they're playing better defensively, and make Baker Mayfield beat you. I think Baker Mayfield is at best an above average quarterback at best.
At best.
And so you don't go into New England and I understand Baker Mayfield's not a rookie or second year player, but it's Bill Belichick time. And you saw what he did to poor Sam Darnold last week. He made him see ghosts again. 3 picks, no TDs. He never said that after this game. He was an idiot to say it after, when he said it before.
Right.
But you could see,
when he was the Jets.
If anything, I thought they should have taken him out because he was clearly had no confidence coming in. And once it went bad, they should have taken him out. But I'll go just to wrap up quickly. New England minus 2.5. I'm with you on Denver. Yes, you're right. Teddy Bridgewater, who's my guy. I've always thought he could be a good NFL quarterback. He had a slump, but now he's back. And you can just throw it on the Eagles at will. And I think they will. So I like Denver minus 2.5. Or did you say it's 1.5 now?
Yeah, it's on ESPN. It's down to 1.5.
Okay. And I also like on Monday, we didn't talk about this game, but I like the Rams going into San Francisco. They have to come off that loss. They were terrible. But and I think Von Miller will play. I don't know that OBJ will play. I don't know if that's been announced yet. But Rams minus 3.5 at San Fran. The only thing I'm a little worried about is Kittle's back. He had 6 receptions for 105 yards and a touchdown. So he's a danger. But, Garoppolo threw for 320 or whatever, and they still got beat. So I think the Rams defense will kind of lift up a bit, especially if Miller plays. And so I like the Rams. In fact, I like them a lot for a bounce back game. But when you look at them last week, you're like, what's going to happen this week? That's the nature of the game, as you said, though, especially this year.
Unbelievable this year. Good stuff. Talk a little NBA. How'd the Warriors get so good so fast? I mean, they don't even have what's his name from Washington State, the other shooter.
Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson, yes.
He's coming back, I think, mid to late December. He's working out with the team.
He was on the bike during the game. They were interviewing him. Yeah, I mean, I love watching him and Curry play together. But Curry's been awesome. Sets the all-time three-point record last night. They're 11-1. I know it's early, but they're 11-1.
I think Golden State's for real, and they're only going to be better. They're gonna have the old gang back, older but wiser, because Curry looks like he hasn't missed a beat. We'll have to see Klay Thompson after 2 years.
Right.
Draymond Green is playing well. They got some young guys who can play, and I think they were really under the radar. I don't think they're under the radar anymore. Curry had 40 last night. He had 50 a few nights before that. He's doing things that nobody 32, 33-year-old has ever done. I think he just caught his father for most 3-point shots after 30. And I think they said it took his father like 500 something games, and it took Curry like 157 or something. Steph Curry, not his father. But his father was a great 3-point shooter, as you know. But he's already beat him. So I think they're a team to be reckoned with. The Lakers, when they get injured, they're no good. They're just no good. I don't think the Nets are a championship team without Kyrie, and it doesn't look like he's getting a shot anytime soon. They can beat up on the bad teams, but they're no good against the good teams. The Knicks have kind of fallen back to the pack. I don't know why everyone's so excited. The Knicks have a bunch of good players, but they have no superstar. And if you're going to give me Randall during the regular season, he's going to have to pick it up in the playoffs. So I think there's an opening for Golden State here that I didn't think would be there till next year. Thompson misses half the season, but it's going to be like getting the number 1 draft pick, in the middle of the season. So I think he can do that. And I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
I agree with that. It's good to see. I like watching them play ball. I like the running and gun, and I missed that a little bit before, Thompson went down with a double injury and Kevin Durant went to the Nets. All right, let's finish up with a little hockey. Starting to get a little antsy. My guy 99, his record becomes more in peril every time I watch a highlight. Ovechkin has 12 goals this year already, and he passed Brett Hull the other night for 4th on the all-time list. I believe it's 842. So he's probably behind, or 742.
742.
742. He's probably, what does Wayne have? 894. 94. All right. So he's got a ways to go, but doesn't seem like he's, trailing off anytime soon.
Well, 12 goals in 14 games. He certainly hasn't trailed off this year. Yager's next at 766. He's got a chance to catch him this year. Gordie Howe, 801. They have a chance to catch him next year. But then it's 93 goals to the grapevine.
A lot of goals.
I'm not sure if he can get there. He can, but I'm not. Again, everybody's doing it based on his 5-year contract. Do I think Ovechkin 4 years from now is going to be Ovechkin? I don't. But this
Don't you
year,
think though he's gonna want us to keep going until he tries?
100%, 100%. So if he's in the neighborhood, he might play more than 5 years if he's in the neighborhood. But, to go from 741 Brett Hell, now 742 for him, to 766, that's not like really a big jump. Even from 766 to 801, which is 35 goals, that's a season for Ovechkin. If Ovechkin scores 30 goals, you're like disappointed. He's a 40, 45, 50 goal scorer. But once you get from Gordie Howe, 93 goals, you go 2 seasons of 46 goals, you're not there yet.
Right.
And that's where it gets a little, this isn't Tom Brady standing in the pocket. This is hockey. And he's not a goalie either.
No, but he looks over at the number. Where's Yager? Right in front of him. I mean, Yager, he's in the KHL now. I think he's still playing at like 50. So Ovie's like, I'll still, someone will pick me up, right? Even if I'm 20 goal scorer, those are kind of rare commodities,
Maybe Yager's coming back to increase his lead. Who knows?
Oh God. I love Mike Ricci. We took Mike Ricci over Jaromir Jagr. Anyway, good stuff, my man. Great stuff. We'll talk about what we're doing this weekend as well, but you can catch our podcast each week right here on, you can catch it on YouTube or Steve's Facebook forum channel. Speaking of sports with Steve Kallas, you can also check out his videos on westchestercountypost.com. Also on YouTube, you can follow me on Twitter at Joe Staszak 4799. Great stuff, my fan. Oh, by the way, this just in, did you know this, or am I looking at this property? Robert Woods, it is official, tore his ACL yesterday, out for the season.
I did not know that, but that makes
OBJ, pretty timely signing, right?
Yes. Can he be Robert Woods? He can if he's healthy. Again, you have to really watch him carefully on his routes. I know his father sent out that video, but I did not know that about Robert Woods. That's a big blow to the Rams. And of course, he's done for the season then. And that makes them, even though they got Von Miller and they got OBJ, that makes them weaker.
Yeah.
If Woods is incredible, he could be a 1 on, 10 or 15 other teams. He's a 2 with Cooper Kupp, but he's a 1 on a lot of teams. That's a big blow.
Yeah, I guess the Rams, they don't seem to play with a salary cap because every time some big name's out, it's like the Yankees. Oh, let's sign him. Why not? What? Hey, good stuff again, my friend. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we'll catch you next week, man.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
You too. Appreciate it, folks. We will catch you next Friday or Saturday morning. Check us out here on YouTube or on Steve's forum page at Speaking of Sports with Steve Kallas. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.